going to kind of do an intro here.
Okay.
So we're on our first trip over to a cemetery in Berkeley, California, with my daughter Veronica, and we're going to put together our YouTube page. This is our first attempt, and it's either going to be the novice genealogist or the next generation or both. I've been doing genealogy for about 32, 33 years now.
And I've been doing genealogy for about 32 minutes.
Actually, it's been about 6 months now. And, so I've gathered probably close to 2,000 or 3,000 names. When I first started about 32 years ago, I was putting in the names and I realized that my great-grandfather and grandmother were buried just 25 miles from where we lived in San Mateo at the time in Berkeley, California. So we're heading over to Berkeley right now to see their grave and take photographs and just kind of see how the site is, and hopefully we'll upload this and let everybody see what we're doing.
It's exciting.
So what do you want to know about Emanuel and Amalia?
Everything. I want to know everything. I know absolutely nothing about them other than like where they are on genealogy.
So Emanuel was born in Marion, Kansas.
Okay.
1880s, I think. I've got to look it up. I brought my laptop. And Amalia was born in Russia.
Yes, right.
And Amalia was the one that crossed the Volga River when she was 7 and got separated from her family.
Mm-hmm.
And my relatives have always told me her last name is Krause, but I recently found her marriage certificate that indicated it was Schmidt. And I found a Schmidt family in Oklahoma where Emanuel and his family finally settled. And there was Amalia Schmidt in that area, or Amalia, that was the same age. So I don't know whether Amalia's name is Krause or Schmidt. I got to verify that. The interesting thing is that they died in the same county that we live in now, so we should go up to Martina's and get a death certificate,
Totally.
which may list her parents. But
Okay.
so Emanuel was born in Marion, and then his dad, Johann Lorenz, moved the family to Oklahoma during the land grab.
Yeah, right.
And in fact, there's a Lorenz Cemetery in Kingfisher County, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And there's probably 100, 200 of our relatives buried in the Lorenz Cemetery.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it's actually really kind of cool. So I'd actually love to visit that someday.
Yeah. Totally.
And I'll see what that's about. So, and I believe that they were living with either his brother or his uncle in Berkeley when they passed away, because all the other census records I have them either in Oklahoma, Southern California, like Long Beach, or Lone Pine, California.
Okay.
But my mom, Patricia Lorenz, said that she remembers visiting them and has pictures of them in Berkeley.
Okay.
So I think towards the end of their lives they were living in Berkeley, but I can't find any records on that yet.
Sure. Do we know what brought them to California?
I suspect that it was probably farming or mining,
Right.
because
Lone Pine's all mining.
well, Lone Pine's mining and agriculture at the time before oil and slate was drained. And the entire family, I mean, Emanuel has, I think, 7 or 8 siblings, maybe more. And I think that they went to Lone Pine probably for either the agriculture or the mining. Several of our Lorenz relatives are buried in Lone Pine, and I think it's called Mount Whittier Cemetery, just north of Lone Pine, California.
Totally.
So I've got Woody, who is Emanuel and Amalia's son, and his twin brother Monty or Monroe are all both buried in Lone Pine. Alan John, our grandfather, who is the son of Amalia and Emanuel, And Zelda is also buried in Lone Pine, and I believe another sibling is buried there, although I haven't verified that. We'll go there someday.
Yeah.
I've been there multiple times, and we'll pick up some pictures.
I'd love to go. But I mean, the last time I was there, I was like, what, 5?
Probably, yeah.
So it was when we visited your dad, Frank.
My dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank, yeah.
I just remember falling asleep, so. Do we know what their occupation was in Oklahoma? Probably agriculture as well.
Farming,
Yeah.
mostly. I mean, Kingfisher County
Yeah.
is a big farming community. The town that they lived in is now called Loyal, Loyal, but the census record shows Kiel,
Kiel.
Kiel, which is a German name. And the story is that during either World War I or World War II, probably World War II, they changed the name of the city because they wanted to show loyalty to the United States. Even though the majority of them were German immigrants, they wanted to show loyalty to the U.S. and change the name of the city. So yeah, they lived in Loyal or Kiel, Oklahoma. And the Lorenz Cemetery is about, I think, 8 miles west of Loyal, Oklahoma.
Cool. And what's the history around Amalia crossing the Volga during like what?
So it's a little. I don't remember things very well. I usually have to go back and research them.
Yeah.
But basically, at one point in time, the Germans were invited into Russia to farm and to occupy that Volga region. And during a government switch, I believe it was I'm going to call her the First Lady, the Queen, the Tsar, whatever you want to call her,
right.
Turned against the Germans and forced them out. And I think it even got a little aggressive and maybe even bloody. And so they were literally fleeing in the middle of the night across the Volga River back into Germany. I think the Volga River splits Russia and Germany. And the story is that Amalia got separated from the family, never saw her mom and dad again.
Okay. Interesting.
And then another family picked her up. So her name could be Krause, and she may have taken the name of Schmidt and picked her up.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But what's interesting is I've done genealogical research on the census records. There's multiple Krauses that are living in the Kiel or Loyal, Oklahoma area that are either living with my Lorenz or Weber or Geis relatives. There's a Mary Krause and there's a John Krause, and it indicates that they are either brothers or sisters or related. But the challenge is that the Lorenz also have a daughter named Molly. That's what Amalia goes by as Molly. That's about the same age as Grandma, great-grandma Amalia. So she goes by Molly as well. So I can't tell if it's, when I see a Mary Krause and it says sister, I can't tell if it's
Molly Krause
or a Lorenz, sister-in-law,
right.
Because it's
right.
So I need more records. I mean, one of the things we should do in this channel when we put this out is talk about the need to substantiate your assumptions. So, for example, we've been told forever that this was that she was a Krause, and she may be a Krause.
Right.
But the marriage certificate definitely says Schmidt.
Right.
So, we need to find out what that is, and I think we'll start with a death certificate of Amalia
in Alameda County.
Actually,
Krause
County. Martinez is where we'll go.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's the county seat.
Yeah, I'll do some research on that occupation of the Germans in Russia and see if I can find some more.
Yeah, no, if you can do the research, there's a lot of web pages on it. I've seen a lot of web pages. I actually have a map of the region, and there is a genealogical society that actually does study that haven't had the tenacity to make that connection. You know, gathering the several thousand names that I've got, I've just used that as a dead end and moved on to other things. But yeah, if we could find a family that either was in Russia that lost a daughter, or most likely fled Russia back into Germany that lost a daughter.
Right.
The baby is a Krause or something.
Right. Totally.
With children of the same ages, we might be able to make that connection.
Yeah.
And I have to say that with the technology moving forward as quickly as it is, I think a lot more information is going to be coming forward.
Totally.
Especially over the internet. It's actually phenomenal how quickly things are moving.
Well, there are a ton of like indexing opportunities too. Like I know Ancestry.com has their own indexing, Family Search has their own indexing. Those are the two main ones I know about. Then we can figure out, maybe even put a link in the description of like places where you can go to index if you're interested in that.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to executive?
But you know, we can always go back.
Tom, I think it's safe
But
to say
you know, like when we go to Santa Paula, I'm afraid we're gonna walk right past stuff that we should know. We'll find out after we come home.
Right. When we're doing research and stuff, yeah.
My good friend and
I'm actually going to reach out to Santa Paula Chamber of Commerce,
has been a big part of my
see if they can't get me in touch with some of the Mexican research for especially the flood of 1928.
Right. That's the St. Francis Dam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think that, you know, there's probably not going to be a lot because of the segregation of the Mexicans and the Caucasians. But
I'm sure though that there are people trying to revive and trying to, right? Yeah.
And if I can get in touch with some people that want to do that, I'd love to work with them on it.
Right.
I'm pretty much convinced that Martina's and Sam Rodriguez's home got wiped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the 1910 census, it indicates they were on Ojai Street, down by the river where the creek met the river. That's how it described it.
Right.
And then in 1920, it was off of Ojai Street. And Ojai Street stops right into the airport, which is now the airport, the east end of the airport, which would have been right in floodplain.
Gotcha.
So I'm almost, pretty convinced their house got wiped out. That's probably where all the small shanties and houses were.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
right.
This is the real thing. This is.
So good. So here we are at Sunset View Cemetery in Berkeley, and Veronica's the cameraman right now, have found my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather and my and my aunts, both Clydena and Edith. And if you want to pan down and show the site, all four of them were cremated, and they're here at Sunset.
Wow, sorry, I'm struggling. Excuse me, sorry. There's Amalia and Emanuel. There's Edith and Clydena.
And so a little bit of a background on Emanuel and Amalia. Emanuel was born in Marion, Kansas in the late 1800s. And I'll get the exact dates and put it in the comments. And Amalia was born in Russia. And she was part of the Volga Valley Germans that were in Russia doing farming. And when she was 7 years old, the families were forced out of Russia back into Germany. And the story is, and I need to substantiate this, is that she was separated from her mom and dad and family at 7 years old and was picked up by another family and brought to the United States. From Emmanuel's side, he and the family, his dad, Johann Lorenz, migrated to Oklahoma during the land grab, and I guess he met Amalia as well. What's interesting is that we believe that Amalia's last name was Krause, but the marriage record to Emanuel shows Schmidt. And I found a census record with Amalia Schmidt in the Oklahoma area near Kiel, or which is now called Loyal, and their marriage records were validated by von Hauser and by Lorenz. And so I believe that Amalia was either picked up by the family Schmidt or is a Schmidt. And maybe her real name is Krause, but in the United States they call her Schmidt because that's the family picked up. I don't know. I need to research that, and in future blogs, when I get that information, I'll let you guys know. From there, they migrated to Lone Pine, California. A lot of the family went with them. Amalia and Emanuel had multiple children, I think 7 or 8, and 2 of their daughters are buried here. I don't think either one of them were ever married. They both have their last name or their maiden name of Lorenz. One is Edith, and the other one is Clydena. And this is a real gem for me because last night I was searching for Clydena's burial, and I couldn't find her. And I couldn't find her death. And so when we went down and talked to the nice lady at the desk, and she told us where they were, when we got here, the surprise was that Clydena is buried here. So a big win. Now, a couple things that we're going to do is that I'm going to upload a lot of this information that I find onto Ancestry.com, but I'm also going to latitude and longitude this on Find a Grave. And I recommend those 2 sites. I think that they're fantastic for genealogists. And as we grow into this electronic age, this internet, World Wide Web age, genealogy is just going to become easier. So basically that's it. Now, we're going to start to do a blog site, and an email page around genealogy. We're going to call it the Novice Genealogist, or the Next Generation, not Star Trek, but the Next Generation, for us to keep track of our ancestors. And we're going to do something silly every time we come here, and I want to introduce you to Gene. So let me go off camera and I'll come back right with Gene. So here's Gene, one of the pillows I keep in my car, and I'm just going to put it down here next to each one of the graves, and we'll post a picture of my relatives at every gravesite that we find with Gene. All right, let me give it back to Edith and Clydena. And there you go. One hint that I would give you, Veronica, I spent about an hour and a half at this cemetery searching for these sites because I had been here before, but it was like 30 years ago. And I thought I knew it, and we were close, and we couldn't find it, but we spent an hour and a half, which was fun. We enjoyed, walking the cemetery. But we finally went down to the front desk, and within 5 minutes, the nice lady behind the desk gave us the exact location, which we were able to find within 5 minutes of that. I asked her if she enjoyed doing that. She goes, yeah, that's my job. This is what we do. This is what we like doing. So my recommendation to you is if you're ever trying to find a plot in a cemetery, go to the front desk first. And I have maps that can show you exactly where your relatives are. So, tip of the day, go to the front desk first. That's all I've got. I don't know, Veronica, if you kind of want to pan around and show them the great, wonderful view of the San Francisco Bay. You can see the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge in the far distance. The sun might be making it a little bit hard to see. But there it is. So thank you. That's all I've got for you on this one. We'll see how it goes. See you next time.